Very good evening and welcome to our latest edition of the Democratic Newsroom. As we speak, in the last 3 months, right before elections in Bihar, the Election Commission of India has undertaken what many deem a contentious electoral roll revision exercise. The matter now challenged in court, but there's fair amount of opinion. We've had a massive political battle over the ballot list, and there is political commentary, there is social commentary, there is a narrative which is being built, which needs to be discussed. And what best than to get our crack team of editors in the Democratic Newsroom to threadbare speak, discuss, debate with what is going on in court and outside in Bihar, the electoral roll revision. Let me quickly introduce our editors to our viewers this evening. Consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai in our brand new set also. Rajdeep today is joining us.
With the smell of fresh paint.
With the smell of fresh paint. Nothing smells better than fresh paint, does it? Then we have Gaurav Sawant, Pooja Shali, our guest Anjana Om Kashyap from Aaj Tak. We have Anisha, who follows the court. We have Siddharth Zarabi from Business Today. Before we move on to anybody else, because there's been a hearing in court today, and Anisha, would you want to weigh in on, because this matter, multiple petitions challenged in the top court of the country?
Well, let's look at the specifics of the objections that have been raised. A lot of questions are being asked about why people have a problem with this entire electoral roll revision. Constitutionally, legally, and on practically, so to speak. First of all, the issues that are being raised by the petitioners and by the court are with regard to whether the EC can look into citizenship at all. The question is, yes, the EC does have the power to conduct regular roll revisions, but when it comes to questioning citizenship, can it go to that extent? Secondly, when the roll revision is being done, when the EC is saying we are conducting an electoral roll revision, can you then say that we will create a system where people will be disenfranchised unless they can provide proof that they are citizens? Can you therefore violate the entire principle of innocent until proven guilty and say that, well, unless you have the documents, you are disenfranchised? The rule under the RP Act specifically is that to disenfranchise someone, to cut somebody's name from the electoral rolls, you have to bring in the objection, you have to prove that XYZ person is not a valid citizen or has some other disqualification. That is where the constitutional and legal issue comes in. On process and practicality, the contentions that are being raised is the timeline, that when you have this entire exercise, can you then in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days allow enough time for objections to come, for verification to come in, and for the redressal? And that is where the Supreme Court has also asked questions. If you disqualify someone, can you then give them time for redressal by the time the Bihar elections come in?
So there's no stay, Anisha,
there's
right
no
now. When's the next hearing?
28th of July, and the Supreme Court has asked the EC to answer all of these questions. Procedure, timeline, can you delink it from the Bihar elections? Can you do the SIR exercise as a separate exercise? Forget about Bihar elections, do the electoral vote revision, because that is something that is necessary. But delink it, and also what documents are you asking for? Can you say that we will accept ABC documents but not accept other documents, so which, a lot by the way, are in the RP Act itself?
Right. So a lot was said in court today, but the exercise hasn't been stayed, it continues, correct?
That is there, but on the 28th, after the ECI files its response, then we will see what happens next. Because, see, court is very clear. EC has the power to do this exercise. They will not stop this exercise. They will, however, adjudge the contours and validity and legality of this exercise. Nobody is stopping the SIR. Please be very clear on that.
Right. So nobody's stopping it, but there are questions on legality, morality as well. But before we get into a heated debate, because I'm going to put my money on it, it's going to get down to that. I want to give the opportunity to Anjana. I'll tell you why I'm giving you the opportunity.
You guys are regulars. Why don't you go ahead?
I'll tell you why. Because you're a special guest. Because Anjana hails from Bihar. So one of the reasons we've invited her in is because this exercise is taking place. Why are you shaking your head, sir?
Like he wants to go in Gujarat, Goa, Maharashtra, all three
first.
debates because he has...
Now he'll claim Bihar also.
No, please go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
He's a gentleman.
Please go ahead.
Come on.
Okay, the reason we are giving her the opportunity is because she's our guest and number one. Number two, you hail from Bihar. And this entire exercise is taking place in Bihar. How are the regular Biharis looking at it?
I think it's a classic case of kagaz nahi dikhayenge, number one. Number two, roll revision is a regular thing that has been done by the Election Commission in this country forever and ever. But when it comes to, like, I have a very basic question for people who are talking about Aadhaar card. We talk about Article 326, save the constitution of this country. The constitution says in Article 326 that only a citizen of this country can vote. And what does the Aadhaar card say? It says, I am not proof of the citizenship of this country. But we want to use the Aadhaar card for voting. See the contradiction there. And this is a big statement on all the people who claim they want to save the constitution but don't understand that 326 is saying ki sahab, are you a citizen of this country? Aadhaar says I'm not proving that you're a citizen. But they want the Aadhaar to prove that you can vote.
Okay.
So the biggest contradiction for all the constitution savers of this world lies there. So Biharis are looking at it like that, especially me. Now you come to
And Biharis are participating very actively, 57% already, and there are still 16 days to go.
The data has to come in for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by yesterday 7, it was 57 to 58%. Now come to Seemanchal, this Aadhaar card saturation that is being talked about. The Aadhaar card saturation, matlab, for every 100 people who live, how many people have Aadhaar card?
Okay.
For the whole of Bihar, the saturation is 94%. Okay?
But for Seemanchal,
Cut to Seemanchal. Four districts there. Kishanganj, Araria, Katiyar, and one more, which is Purnia. Purnia, from where Pappu Yadav won. The saturation is above 120. The maximum is in 68% Muslim population. Aadhaar card is 126% saturation. Now, the one big flaw is that now the saturation, and not just for Bihar, even in Delhi, it's 133%. This is a huge racket that we have to somehow crack.
You're saying it
Why
needs
is
to
this
happen. So net-net it should happen.
And it should happen countrywide.
Okay, but just two questions.
This is a
Do
pilot
one nation,
project.
one
Okay.
election.
This is
Do stop this
Okay, before
Aadhaar
I go,
saturation.
I'll go to Rajdeep, but just two questions on that, Anjana, because over 39 lakh voters were added on the basis of the same Aadhaar that you're speaking of in Maharashtra, so question mark on that. Number two, you're talking about 126% saturation of Aadhaar. Census hasn't happened. So how do we know there's saturation?
No, but
where is this figure
they're
coming from?
extrapolating from the
Who's
current
extrapolating?
population, but that's
Who's
how you do all
extrapolating?
your data.
No,
That's how you
if
do
there
all
is no
your
census,
readings.
how do you extrapolate? And if we've added 39 lakh voters on the basis of
And
Aadhaar
also one more argument in the court.
Maharashtra.
One more argument in the court. Wait,
let me quickly go around. Yeah.
Sorry, if I may interject one tiny question for Anjana. When you're talking about speculative saturation without a census, the question, the issue is how can you disenfranchise voters? How can you chuck
Where is that data coming from?
anyone been
without data?
disenfranchised?
Okay, where's
Are
that
you
data?
jumping the
And it
gun
was
on
done
this?
in 2003
No,
30
okay,
right.
seriously.
The whole role, let the same role division.
Seriously.
No, but where is it
was done?
एक हिंदी में पुरानी कहावत है, चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका।
कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे।
कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे।
But where
कार्रवाई
is-
हुई नहीं।
but where is this
कार्रवाई
data
हुई नहीं
coming from?
और disenfranchise
But where is
already
this
होना।
data? Where is this data coming from? The question, okay,
ये
one
जो
by one.
डराना धमकाना अभी से शुरू
Okay,
कर दिया
one
ना,
by one.
डरा दिया।
All right, Rajdeep.
It's on our
Okay.
website.
Allow
Okay.
me to
Yeah,
Rajdeep,
yeah,
Rajdeep,
yeah.
Rajdeep,
That is why
Yeah, yeah,
28
Rajdeep, Rajdeep, go ahead. Make your, okay, one second. Anisha, allow Rajdeep to come in. Go ahead, make your point.
I wish those who spoke just now had even half an idea of the law of this country. I'm very sorry to say this. This is the law and practicality. Sitting in a nice little
law
studio,
and practicality.
nice new painted studio in Noida is very different from Seemanchal or any part of Bihar. Please understand. And let me give you the reason. First of all, I was surprised even Anisha did not raise a basic point. Very, very basic point, which is between June 2024 and January 2025, the Bihar state election machinery completed a revision of the electoral rolls called the Special Summary Revision 2025.
So?
Full revision with additions, deletions, it all.
Right.
Please tell me. And the Election Commission owes an explanation to this country, not through press releases, but through a proper press conference. What changed in 5 months between January 2025 and June 2025 for you to suddenly decide that we are going in for a special intensive revision? After a press release a month ago mentioned specifically Aadhaar, now you bring in, not only do you bring in a special intensive revision, which in 2002-03 took 1 year. Say we are going to do it in 3 months. Decide to do it in the monsoon months of Bihar. After you have completed, please let me be clear. After you have completed a complete complete exercise, including additions and deletions, which was an ongoing exercise, and you bring in a list of 11 restrictive documents which you will say are necessary for anyone
These
who
are
wants to be
indicative.
1 minute.
These are
These
indicative.
words are not indicative and all. When you go down, this is the problem between those who sit in Noida and those who need to be out on the street. The fact is, it's a classic example of state
Where is
overreach.
this coming from? Where is this coming from?
No,
We
you
are
must allow me to
down
complete.
to cover
No,
election.
it
Where
must
is
be
this coming from?
I
We are
will
not
say-
here to listen to
these
all
are,
these things. No,
madam,
sir.
these are
No, please.
constitutional.
Mind your
practical-
language. Don't.
No,
Let's
no.
go one by one.
Don't
There's
talk
no
in a
point.
derogatory manner.
either-
We are
I'll come
reporters who
back.
are out on the
saying-
streets.
No, no,
Okay,
I
I'll
said-
circle back.
Studio
I'll circle back. I'll
banter.
circle
Please
back.
stop.
No,
Make
1
it-
minute.
Make
The
your
fact
point,
is-
but don't make this
the fact
banter
is-
about studio and ground.
June to January
Right.
for 6 months. No, you must listen
I am
completely.
listening, I'm
Because
listening.
this is a serious issue. It cannot be done through
We have
shouting.
1 hour.
Okay.
Everyone can have
week.
their say.
Okay.
Make your
Are we
point.
to presume that the earlier rules that you put in place, right, were in some way fraudulent or some way flawed? Please understand. You have set a cutoff date of 2003. Since 2003, Bihar has had 5 state elections and 5 general elections, right, through a particular roll process. You have now said that those who were not on the register as of 2003 subsequently
Right.
have to supply one of 11 documents. Every empirical evidence, not done by me, but done by scholars, shows that several people in Bihar do not possess these documents. When I say that the difference between Noida and the ground is simply this, it's not about reporters. It's about the reality on the ground versus being in the studio. Bihar has a large mobile migrant population.
Right.
Bihar has a large rural poor population. You are going to subject them to a typical bureaucratic exercise of state overreach
Right.
in 3 months. An exercise which nationally took 1 year. In
Okay.
2002-03. No, please, you must listen to these.
Listen.
These are all very serious points. This is not, therefore, as I told Anisha, constitutionality, we can dispute whether Article 326 allows the EC complete control over an election
Okay.
is one matter. However, any power cannot be subject to abuse of it. One.
That is why you
Fair
have
Number
point.
two,
Point make. Preeti, I have a point to make.
Number two,
No, no,
number two, a fundamental-
We have 1 hour. Okay, I just want to tell all our fans.
No, I know
Fundamental
only because I'm a Bihari, this
No,
extra
no,
pity is showing to Bihar is not
it has
done.
nothing to do with Bihar. It
It's
has-
66 silly, yeah. It's 66% now. This
Man,
this
no, no, 1
poor
minute.
one
Even
second.
if
extra
even if
pity
1
is showing to
crore, let
Bihar.
me be
It's
very
not
clear.
fair.
Make your
Even
point.
if 1%,
No, that's the language
it's
you
not
use.
even
1
1
second,
crore
allow
of a-
everyone to
Ma'am,
have their
I will
say.
leave
We have-
now because I will tell you
You
one.
don't need to
I do
leave.
not.
Please sit.
On this issue, I take it very seriously. This
So
is
make your point.
So it is not about personal. It is constitutional. Please understand.
Make your
If you
point.
create a situation where those
Right.
before 2003 are subject to different rules to those after 2003, after
Right.
it violates a fundamental principle of our constitution of equality of citizenship. I
Fair
cannot tell those after 2003 you will supply one of 11 list of documentary evidence, but if you were
Okay.
already on the electoral rolls before 2003, all is okay. And
point.
to the point that my friend Mr. Gaurav Sawant made, 58%, 66%, it can be even 98%. But if even 2% of eligible Indian
point.
citizens are denied the right to
Have
vote,
they been denied?
no, it
Have
is not.
they been denied?
The system itself, I am at the moment, because you used a number. My limited point is, Gaurav, the fact is there are constitutional questions of equality involved here, and there are practical questions involved
Let me
of
go
the
to Gaurav.
manner in
Let
which
me go to
EC
Gaurav.
has done it.
Let me go to
So
Gaurav.
let's please take it
Can
seriously
we have
and
enough
not
time? Okay,
personalize it.
can I make
If
point?
it is
Rajdeep, you've
personalized, I will
spoken.
walk out.
You don't know. Okay, nobody's 1 second.
No, I will
Let
walk
me.
out.
Let me. Allow. No, 1 second, Anisha.
I've
Here,
been
1
at-
No,
second.
people who do not understand.
Anisha,
No, I'm
hold
sorry.
on.
People who do not understand.
I have studied the law through all my life. I am not
Rajdeep.
going to be subject to all of this.
Water.
Sorry.
Water.
No,
Take
no,
a
not
sip of water.
Why?
And stay right here. Why are you going? There is no personalized thing. Okay, I'm holding on to it. 1 second.
In fact, if
Let me
anybody
Let me
made
go
it
one by
personalized,
one.
it was him.
Okay.
Let me
Can
go
I-
one by one.
Yeah.
Allow me to.
Siddharth
Mr. Siddharth, would you
wants
want
to
to
No,
say?
on a very limited point.
Make your point.
Since Rajdeep made this point very passionately, and I will say this equally with passion, but very calmly, that will be my attempt. Rajdeep, in 1990, close to 500,000 people had to leave Kashmir Valley. And if my memory serves me right, for several election cycles, which didn't happen in J&K, by the way, due to the troubled situation, they moved within the same state from 7 districts to other districts. They were denied their electoral franchise. Did any of you raise this point then? No, I am asking questions.
Classic
With,
whataboutery.
no. You can use any terms. It's not
Allow him.
whataboutery.
Yeah,
I am
his point,
countering
please.
to that passionate fundamental point, which I agree with you, no one should be denied their right to cast their vote. But there are always two sides to the coin. And since you are such a cricket fan, even at a toss on the field, there is heads and tails. This was just to show you a mirror on that argument. The second point, adding to the debate, hopefully in a qualitative manner, Article 326, go down just 3 articles to 329, which is the role of the court and what the Constitution says about its ability to interfere in the electoral process. Delimitation, the conduct of polls, the entire process in the run-up, during the polls, and after that is very clearly defined and laid out. And therefore, in today's arguments at the court and the observations, which I think are still observations, Anisha can correct me, and what may happen on the 28th, the court has told all the petitioners and the defendants that my powers to interfere with what the Election Commission of India can do are limited by that very same Constitution.